Hi, my name is Steve Gonzalski, and I will be your instructor for beginning graphic design for Fall 22. Watch this video and simply take notes on it. It is a very good idea especially if you're taking more than one college class, to start out with a cover page on your notes that lists the important things for that class that will develop along the semester. So for example, our class, you should start out the notes with how to access Canvas if you're not already familiar, and then what particular things that I'm going to emphasize this first week that's very important for you as being part of this class. Anything that I don't explain thoroughly in this video will be explained in the upcoming welcome videos, and I'll talk more about those in a bit. Let's start with how to access Canvas. So the most straightforward and easy to remember way is just start at the college's website, saddleback.edu, click on Canvas, enter in your credentials here, should be the same ones that you use to sign up with for the class to start with, and click login. If you can't get this far, then what you're going to have to do is figure out what your username and password is, and if you can't get that on your own, here is the information for technical support at Saddleback College. Okay, let's talk about some of the important items in Canvas, starting with how do you get into it. So once you're in it, how do you get into our class? Is you just find the placard for our class. Now your list may look a little bit different than this, but you're going to find the class, the semester, and simply click on it. Okay, so the things that you'll use the most in here will of course be the home page, because you come to that right away. Eventually this video that you're watching right now will be embedded right here on the home page, and then there'll be just important reminders, generalities about due dates that you'll want to read, important dates, which really all I have for us this semester is the beginning and the end date. And then here's some stuff that'll help you turning things in along the way. You may want to check these videos out. This stuff here, don't really need to worry about until about the 6th week of class. Two things that you should check at least once, if not twice a week, would be announcements and grades. I will release an announcement to you every week, and a lot of times there'll be routine, just a reminder of what module you go to for that week. But often there'll be important things that come up that I will thus make an announcement to make you aware of a change or something like that. Grades, you'll hear me talk a lot more about your grades in the welcome videos, but check them often. They're a very accurate way for you to know what you're doing in the class up until now. And then you will spend the majority of your time in this class in this tab here, modules. This is a module-driven class. You start out the first week by completing 2 modules, the orientation module, and the week 1 module. Then after that, starting in week 2, you just complete 1 module per week. It's important for you to know how to email me during this semester. You will use this inbox icon to take you into the email system. You can also use that to email other students that are enrolled in the class. You just simply click here and then choose what class and then who you want to go to, whether it's teacher or students. It's very important that you know how to access comments that I will leave throughout the semester for your projects and assignments that you turn in. So for example, let's say that you're working in week number 3 module. You get to this item here and you turn in the project. So once you click on this, you'll be inside. You'll have seen this many times prior to going in the last time to turn it in. But there'll be a button in your view, either at the top or at the bottom, that is for submitting the project. Once you do that and I grade it, you should get notified. And The default, I believe, on your notifications is that you will get notified, and I highly suggest that you leave it that way. But if you notice after the first grades are posted that you didn't get notified, then you may want to go into your settings and adjust that. If you can't figure out how to do that, just reach out using this help button here to the Canvas people. And in fact, probably even before you get that, if you just Googled notification settings, Saddleback, Canvas, I'm sure to take you right to it. But anyway, back to comments. So after I grade your work, there'll be a comments box, and I will either enter by typing comments, or near that box there'll be a play button, and that means that there's audio feedback. Now, there's one other way, a third possible way that you'll get feedback, and that is every assignment, every important assignment like a project will have a rubric. So you should first of all look at the rubric before you turn things in to make sure you're not going to miss out on easy points. But once the project is graded, then in your view you may see something like this where you'll see your grade. You should always open up the rubric after you get the grade, because I may, for each item in the rubric, click on the comment button and enter in a comment, so then that way you have further details about why you didn't receive points for something. We now have so many different versions of online classes, a lot of them thanks to the pandemic, but I want to make sure you understand that this is a 100% online class, sometimes referred to as an asynchronous class, meaning that we do not meet in person, nor do we meet in Zoom. The class content is contained in Canvas. When you're taking any class, but especially an online class, discipline and time management are the key to your success. Let's talk a little bit about the time you need to put aside. In class, this particular class, or I should say in person, this particular class used to meet for 5 hours. Then you had your homework. Even when it met as what we call a hybrid, where it meets on campus and you have some online content, it met for 3 hours, and then you would make up that other 2 hours of watching online videos or reading, and then you still had your homework. So the bottom line is you really need to be ready to commit to on average 9 hours per week just to do okay in this class, and even more if you probably want to work as a graphic designer. Let's talk a bit about the materials that you'll need for this class. There'll be more information inside the syllabus and the welcome videos on some of these topics, and when we get to the probable projects for the class, I'll talk a bit about the materials for each project. But you absolutely need something to write with and on. Now, you could decide to do that all digitally, but taking notes is very important in a college class, and you're also going to need some way to sketch out your ideas for projects for the class. You should have a way to back up your files for the class. The best way is cloud-based backup, because somebody is monitoring that and making sure that it stays up and running. Thumb drives are so-so. Talk more about that in the upcoming videos. If you will not be using your college library to do the homework, which I believe there's only 2 libraries in the college that are set up with the Adobe Creative Cloud. So if you have your own computer and you can download the Creative Cloud, then do that. And you can get a really good deal as a college student. In fact, I'm just going to copy this part of the URL and just show you this website real quick. Okay, I'll just paste that in there. And when you go to this site, yeah, it looks like the deal's even better than what I thought it was. This is a price per semester. Now, if you did this last semester, know that it's going to run out soon. So you may want to look into the procedure for renewing that, because you don't want to be stuck where all of a sudden you can't use the software for a couple days and it causes you to have to turn something in late. But basically, you're just going to probably click on this tab here, enter in your credentials, or basically first find the school that you're with, and it'll verify that yes, Saddleback is indeed one of them that gets the Creative Cloud at this great price, and then just follow through with all the sign up that you need to do. and you should be up and running. And the only two programs that you need for Creative are from Adobe's Creative Cloud for this class is Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop. Okay, class officially starts on August 22nd, but Canvas is now available, and if you want to get started on it, you certainly can. First place to go is the modules, like I showed you earlier. Start with the orientation, and basically with the modules, if you start at the very top of each module, do each section in there one at a time, you're going to have success with this class as long as you have enough time. So this first week, or sooner if you want, go to modules, click here, start here. You don't have to keep coming back to this main menu. You can just simply read through, do what you have to do in the first one, click next, it'll take you to the next one. Now this is a very big deal for this first week that you complete these welcome videos. This is basically like our contract as to what's expected of you for the class, what's important to do to get started, and things to watch along the way in the class. So you've got to block out a couple hours to watch these videos, take notes, and then by the end of the module, there is a welcome quiz. You must complete that quiz with a grade of A or better, which should be very easy to do because the answers are given to you in the quiz. The only thing you have to make sure you write the answers down and spell them correctly because they are graded by the computer. If you do not complete the welcome quiz by Thursday, August 25th, you will be dropped from the class as a no-show, meaning that the college wants you to prove that you can handle an online class, and so what they task us as instructors to do is give an assignment the first week that must be completed or you're dropped. This works perfectly because if you complete this, then I know that you're on track to do well in the class. Don't wait till the last minute. That's a good way to get a bad grade on it. Ideally, just do it right away or within a day or two of the class starting. If you've taken me as an instructor before, don't assume that any of my quizzes will be the same as last semester. And like I mentioned, some of the quizzes, but especially this welcome quiz, are fill in the blank, and the answer must be put in 100% correct. I will most likely have made some mistakes in setting up this Canvas course. Sometimes Canvas throws a wrench or two at us. So if you notice something that doesn't make sense based on the due dates given in the modules, then send me an email right away. The most important thing in a module-based class is that you're doing the modules one at a time, one item in the modules at a time. Keep an eye out for anything that has a date and points next to it, because that is something that will definitely affect your grade in the class. If you're using like the calendar feature in here and all of a sudden something pops up that's due that is not part of this module, it's most likely some weird mistake. So just send me an email right away and we'll get that taken care of. To talk about the probable projects for this class, let's jump ahead in the syllabus here, which you will get familiar with in the welcome videos. And the reason I say probable projects is they're the very highly likely exact projects that you're going to have for the class, but you just never know. The pandemic taught us a lesson, to never assume that you're going to get every day that you were promised for a class. So these should be your projects. I'm just going to kind of walk through these really quickly. My little explanation may make no sense to you at all, but it may just kind of give you a feeling of what you'll be doing overall in the class. So we start out with what's called a full bleed project, where you just simply learn how to properly set up the software for printing. This is a beginning graphic design class, so even though it's online, you will be printing projects and you will send proof of that via photographs. And let me just tell you in advance here, I think this is the only project where you actually need a mounting board. So let me just show you that real quick. Here's an example of that first project. And this black matte board you may want to go ahead and get that now. You won't be turning this in until the 3rd week of class, but I know some people like to get out there, get the supplies right away. This board measures 15 inches this way by 20 inches that way. You should be able to find them at any art supply place. I know the cheapest price is usually at the Art Supply Warehouse in Westminster, but if that's the only reason you're going, probably won't make up for the expense of gas. So look for other art supply places on Google that are more nearby. This should be less than $5. I know at some places it's only like $2.50. Don't pay someone like Michael's crazy amount of money to trim this down to size for you. You should be able to find them at the 15 by 20. If you happen to find something oversized, then use a utility knife and very carefully cut it down to size. The next project listed here is 3D on 2D, and basically these first kind of like 3-4-ish projects are basically like a crash course in 2D design, and then this one about conceptual design, and then the rest of it goes into what you would more traditionally consider to be graphic design. The 3D on 2D, here's some examples of this project, and the idea is basically on a flat surface to create the illusion of 3 dimensions. Let's see, the next one listed there was the balance project. And that project, you create 2 compositions, one of them that is symmetrical and one of them that is asymmetrical, and the name of the game on both of those is creating balance. Obviously, for each one of these projects, we're going to go into much further detail. Like I said, this is just an overview, and then also to let you know about supplies. For this project, you're going to need 3 different colors of construction paper, and they end up being 10 inches by 10 inches, just in case you're thinking of getting supplies. The next one is word power, and that is where you learn to take a word and make just a super slight, clever manipulation to it so that it takes on this brand new power, kind of becomes a symbol in itself. Then all of the rest of the projects here are like very focused on you designing items for a restaurant. So what you're going to do is first come up with this idea in your mind of what your restaurant is. I'll assign you certain criteria for the restaurant, and then within those confines, you kind of at first become the owner of the restaurant in your mind, and then once you have a firm idea of what this restaurant is, as the pretend owner, then you become the graphic designer, and that pretend owner is now no longer you, it's your client. So you first learn how to write a creative brief, which describes the project, and it's kind of like a contract between you and the person that you're designing for. Then for that restaurant, you will design a logo. Then for the same restaurant, you will design a menu. And then for the same restaurant, you will make a package design, something that might be sold at the restaurant or give away as a promotion at the restaurant. And then sometimes we don't make it to this project, a marketing / additional collateral. But if we don't do this, then we spend a lot of time making sure that you get all of this stuff very nicely ready for your portfolio. All right, so like I mentioned, you may want to get a start on the class by jumping into the modules. I look forward to working with you this semester.